happening?
We're here today, and it's a beautiful sun shining day, but we're not out on the water, so we figured we'd make a quick video. Today's one is just because it's coming up to springtime now, so you're going to see a lot of workups, and then moving into summer as well, you're going to see a lot more kingfish in that, so it's a perfect opportunity to try and target some of these good fighting fish on topwater. So we just thought we'd give you a bit of a rundown between some of the different options of the stick baits, because they can go from sort of $20 all the way up to 200 and even more. So just want to talk you through some of the options, some of the stick baits that we use, and some of the terminal tackle that can go with it. So I'll pass over now to Zane, and then I'll let him give you a bit of a rundown on how things are going, eh?
Sweet. How's it going, guys? So as Brody was saying before, it's coming up to spring, heaps of workups, and then it's going to be summer, heaps of good kingfish on the surface. As the water gets warmer, the fish move further up to chase the bait fish. So I'm just going to talk to you about different stick baits and the different range of stick baits you can use when targeting kingfish on topwater in New Zealand, and then we'll talk about some of the pelagic species over in the islands that you can target as well. So when we got into stick baiting, obviously just working part-time, studying, all that kind of stuff, it was quite expensive buying top-of-the-line stick baits. So when we started out, we were looking at stuff like the Savage stick bait from Akuma. So these are real cheap, they're like $20, and they come already rigged with trebles, and they come with singles. So this style is a sinking stick bait, so it's slow sink. So what happens is when you cast it out, you give it about 2 seconds, and the stick bait slowly starts to sink, and as soon as you start winding, it just gives a nice S shape. So this one's really easy to swim, and it's good when you're starting out. You don't know what action to use, and the setup and all that stuff comes into account. So with that, it's quite easy. Cast it in, wait 2 seconds, start winding, and it gives you a nice S action. And we've got heaps of kingies on these stick baits. The only thing with a cheaper stick bait like this is eventually you're going to have to change the hooks after about your third or fourth fish, because they will straighten them under heaps of load. Then with the Savage, and then we have the Shimano range, the Shimano Orcas. It's a really nice looking stick bait, really good quality. That bumps up to about $40-50 for one of those. And that also comes already rigged with hooks, with trebles, has the split rings and everything. And the Orcas are a floating stick bait. So what happens is when you cast it, the head pops up on the surface, and then as soon as you start winding, it will dive down, do its thing, and then come back up. So that's a floating stick bait. That's really good when you're sight fishing and you want to see the fish actually hit the stick bait. You'll see the splashes and the tails when they follow that stick bait in. And then we'll move on to some of the more what people would call like high-end stick baits. And what people don't understand is you're not just paying a ridiculous amount of money for a stick bait just because it looks cool. The actions on them are quite a bit different, and also the clear coat that they have and the paint finish will last way longer than some of the cheaper stick baits, So we've caught a few fish on these stick baits, and they still look brand new. These ones, we've caught a few fish as well, but as you can see, like if you look at the Orca, it has like scuff marks and all that, and I think this one's caught about 2 fish, and and the hooks all started rusting and everything. So that's just like, it's an investment. You're investing in a good stick bait. It's going to last you quite a while. And also when the trebles hit it, scratch the paint and stuff like that, it really doesn't get that badly damaged. So this is a Kikuchi. This is a fast sinking stick bait. So this one I like to use when the fish are relatively shy. They're not coming up to the surface, smashing the stick bait. You get something that goes down, present it in front of them, and as soon as you start winding it in, it rolls and goes from side to side, and that resembles a bait fish fleeing from a school. So that one entices quite a bit of bite. Then we have the Black Sheep, which is a floating stick bait. So what you have to remember with floating and sinking stick baits is, with sinking stick baits, you can rig them with big trebles, or singles. It won't really matter because it's going to sink anyway, so it won't affect the action as much. Whereas floating stick baits, sometimes if you rig them with singles, they'll be a bit too light and they won't dive down enough to actually give you a good action. That's why we've rigged the Black Sheep with BKK, GT Rex, Firebaro trebles. So these are barbless. So these are quite good. It's quite easy to release the fish once it's hooked. And with barbless, the only difference is once you hook that fish, you have to keep heaps of tension on the line so the hook doesn't slip out. But 99% of the time, the hooks will never slip out because it's so sharp. Then on this end we have the Sea Falcon. So this is a really nice stick bait. It's a 200. That's a floating stick bait as well. So this one, just the diameter is a bit thinner. So what we did is we rigged these with the owners. This is 4-bar, so it's still a nice size hook, but it's just a bit smaller, so it doesn't actually scuff up the stick bait as much. So yeah, those are the basics with stick baits, you know. So if you're looking at getting into it, go for the cheaper stuff, because sometimes you'll cast, you'll get stuck in weed, you know, you lose a stick bait, stuff like that. Once you get more into it, then you can go up to like your carpenters, your Kikuchis, your Sea Falcons, your Black Sheeps, you know, your Zorros, the rodeos, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and then later on we'll do another video talking about what kind of setups to use, so, you know, like the high-speed stellars, you know, pluggers, you know, carpenters, Yamaga blanks, all that kind of stuff. And then that's where it comes into knowing what size stick bait you can use for what types of rods. You know, like P6 will take like maybe 130 gram, you know, P8 you can go up to 200 gram, that's like your popping rods and stuff like that. So we'll talk about all that later on, but this is just a basic rundown of your stick baits. So you've got $20, $40, $160, $110, something like that. So that's just a variation, and you can see the different quality. Brody can zoom in and have a look at all of those, and then you can see the different quality in all of them.
And so these ones are all made out of wood, is it? Or
yeah, these are all wood. Yeah. You know, these are all
like
plastic,
PVC plastic.
PVC,
that's the other thing that you're paying a lot of money for.
So like all these ones, they're like handcrafted. You know, they're made out of wood. They last heaps longer than the plastic ones. That's why the plastic ones are cheap, because they're just all made in one go with a mold. You know, these are all handcrafted, you know, and all the details on them, you know, they're really, like, if you look, these are both blue, but if you look at that sparkle and everything on the Falcon, it's really nice. And look at that Falcon, looks like brand new, so it's really good.
And it's going to stay looking like that even after a few fish.
Exactly. So yeah, so next video we'll talk about the reels, the rods, and all that kind of stuff. So thanks for listening, guys. We'll talk to you next time. So guys, I get a lot of questions about how to store your stick baits and your poppers and stuff like that, because they have trebles on them, they have singles, whatever hooks you have on them. When you put them in your tackle bag to get them out, they get caught in the cotton of the tackle bag, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's just a real pain. So what we use is the HPA stick bait bag. That's what it looks like, you know, and it's all made out of like a hard plastic kind of thing. I don't know what you call that, but yeah. And it has a mesh plastic as well. So when your stick baits and stuff are in here, it's really easy to get them in and out. So I'll take one of these out, and you can see. Yeah, boom, here it is. That's one of our poppers, the Ozuri. You know, and all you have to do is just get the trebles in the right angle. Boom, it's in there, stored away. No one's gonna cut their fingers or anything. And then when you're done, all you do is roll it up like that. Has two clips. Clip there, boom. There's your stick bait bag, ready to go. Sweet.
Alright, so now that you understand a little bit more about the different stick baits that you get and the action and the price and that sort of stuff, we'll go through and we'll just show you how you can actually rig them up, and what's sort of the best way to do it. As Zane said in one of the previous videos, you know, your hooks, you can decide on which ones you want depending on the size of them. That's, I suppose, the most important thing is, when you look at the thickness of the lure, you want to make sure that the hooks do protrude out of that. And the main reason for that is you don't want to find that your hooks are smaller, so then what happens is the fish actually ends up biting the lure, but the hooks aren't big enough so it doesn't grab that. You want them to want to close down on the lure like that and get the hooks in there and then hook up to the fish. Well, that's the idea anyway. Now on here we've got split rings. These are literally the easiest, fastest and strongest way to secure your hooks onto the stick baits. They work really well, and you want to go between anywhere from 100 to 300 pound with these ones, or you can get like medium and then you can get heavy ones. And the other thing that we're going to go through today is how to actually attach it to your leader. So whatever leader you decide to use, fluorocarbon, mono, whichever one you prefer, the best way to definitely go about doing that is, again, to get a real decent sized swivel. This one over here is, I think, 200 pound there. Did you get 200 pound?
200, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a 200 pound swivel over there, and then just a medium split ring. You can get them pre-made, right? They do. You can buy them just exactly like that, or you can buy them separately and join it together. A good pair of pliers, split ring pliers. So you'll notice it's got that little little groove over there, and what that does is actually go in to allow you to open it. So go towards the edge of the lure like that, the split ring, sorry. Get your pliers in there nicely, and then what you want to do is just thread it through, just like that. And then finish up threading it through. There you can see it's just a couple of seconds and it's done. Alright, so now what you've got is something that looks like this. Okay, so now why do you want to do this? I see some people, and you know, sometimes we do it ourselves if the fishing's hot, but you just tie it straight onto there, right? Straight onto the eye. What happens is you don't have much flexibility here. So depending on the angle that you pull it, your line's going to pull the stick bait whichever way it's going. So you could end up with having a stick bait that's swimming like that, which is not ideal. With this, doesn't matter which angle you use on your rod, which technique you use, this is a ball bearing swivel, so it's always going to be able to rotate, and you've got a full range of motion over here. Right? So it's fast. The other thing is that, like I'm saying, it's fast, is it's easy to change over. Say this one's not doing it for me, too easy. You put your AG chain knot on the end of this from your main line, and you want to change lures, use a split ring pliers, take it out, and then switch over to another lure. So it is really easy. We'll make another video showing you how to, you know, use some Kevlar or what do you call that thing?
Trace armor.
Yeah, the trace armor and the knot that we use for it. But that's basically how you want to be able to use your split rings to rig up your stick baits.
Neat. Okay, so this is a sinking, this is a Kikuchi. So we'll just show you how it swims.
One more time.
So you see it sinks quite fast. You see how it rolls, so you get that abalone flashes. Looks like a fish escaping from its school. So this is a Savage Gear, it's one of the cheapest stick baits. This is slow sink. So drop it in. Just has a good diving optic.
Do it again.
Okay, so this is the Sea Falcon 200. So this is floating stick bait, as you can see. Just floats on the surface. So cast it in, switch, go side to side.